At school, we watched countless Just Say No videos. Police warned us about drugs. Hard drugs? All our peers agreed. Those were forbidden.
The school officer pointed at the chart, highlighting the dangers. Remember, one bad choice can change your life forever.
I found Darren lifeless, alone. His addiction won. The funeral was filled with new, broken friendships, family grieving, teachers repeating, "Just say no." This is a difficult story, my friend. Just say no. At school, we had more Just Say No to Drugs campaigns than sex education lessons. The school lessons on the prevention of using drugs was a high-priority social development lesson. We watched videos on how dangerous drugs are, and even the local police officers would visit to explain the consequences of drug use. We were told of the dangers and consequences for using and owning illegal substances. There are not many things all peers agree on, but hard drugs were on the peers' antisocial behavior list. It was acceptable for some things to be tried amongst peer groups like tobacco smoking, the use of smoking herbs, and maybe a sniff of white powder. But they were all sold by the same person, the pusher, the dealer, and as this story will tell you, the Grim Reaper. It was socially acceptable to just say no. However, my best friend fell foul of the opioids. After all great advice from the same education as myself, sat through the same Just Say No campaign, all our peers and even warning from the visiting local police officers, my friend still became addicted to opioids. We had been to the same school, learnt the same advice on just saying no to drugs, but he still was drawn to the illicit drugs. I often wondered how he was foolish enough to begin the short road to death. Was he tricked by an evil pusher who spiked his cigarette, or was he in full faculties? Was I not home, and he had nowhere to go but a dealer's house? Did someone in his family died, and the pain drove him to want to forget? Either way, the first sign for me that my friend was on opioids was he spent way too much time in the bathroom when he visited. I had never seen opioids and had never smelt them either, so I had no idea. I had a zero-tolerance home on hard drugs, and no hard drugs could be used in my place. My friend would lie to his friend and family all the time about needing money for big items, and then come up with lies why he hadn't brought what the money was for. He would speak about issues on the wrong side of society beliefs, and would talk on and talk over people, which was not his character. He was slow motion when on the opioids and fast-paced off them. The ascent into his death was inevitable. His friends, one by one, started to drop him from their circle, and he began playing music on the streets to raise money for his habit. He would make enough in an hour to get his fix, and a few hours later strum his guitar again on the streets for more pennies, for more of his addiction. He eventually became homeless, and it was hard finding him, and only stories and rumors were spoken of him, just rumors. The facts, and there is nothing wrong with promoting these facts. Heroin kills 99% of its male users and 90% of its female users. So death is invariable for Darren. I didn't want to believe those factual figures, and though my friend fought to rid himself of his now illness addiction, he would always return to the opioid pipe. My friend was brighter than me and was far more sociable than me, however did the most stupid thing. He took hard drugs. I often wonder what the sensation of his death was like. Was he in peace ascending up into heaven and suddenly in a place of hell? Was he scared entering the world of death? Was he going to be okay in hell? As his body slumped in the chair in a dirty place with cigarette butts and empty beer cans around him, I walked into his dirty home, the last of his longest school friends, and found him. I closed his eyes and called an ambulance. Telling the operator of the brief history of Darren's lifestyle and told them he was beyond resuscitation as his body was really hard and stiffened. I was asked a few questions about Darren's position and how the paramedics and police would be entering the house. I phoned his parents and told them to come over to Darren's property. Darren had died of a drug overdose. His parents arrived before the emergency services arrived, and that they were in grief and shock they were made to go through after-death plans for their son. Where he would be buried, the churches to attend the service in the wake afterwards. Although Darren was dead, the turnout at the funeral was of family, and the friends who attended were not long-life friends like me. They were newer drug user friends, scruffy and disruptive. Darren left Earth, and he had no heirs and no money to leave behind. But he did leave us with a tale of heartache and pain. Whilst Darren blissfully ascended to the place of his death/limbo and the teachers continued to teach Just Say No, and local police and campaigners raged on repeating the idea you can just say no, Darren had left us with his tale, a statistical reminder of a yes world.
No!
Just say no, and then say it louder. No.